Every single time his sister-in-law went to take a shower, her brother-in-law would quietly stand outside the bathroom door. Why? Because she was blind, and he had happily become her walking cane. But here's the crazy part. To the rest of the world, that man was basically seen as the devil himself, and the only person capable of calming the human side of him was his sister-in-law. But the real story started 5 years earlier, back when two brothers were living together with their sister-in-law, and the most dangerous one. The older brother, he suffered from XXY syndrome, and his rage was terrifying. The dude constantly lost control and beat people up. The only person brave enough to protect the younger brother was the sister-in-law, but because of that, the older brother usually took all his anger out on her. Then one day, during a huge fight, the younger brother tried protecting her by accident. He kicked the older brother, but in the middle of the chaos, the prayer beads necklace that controlled his emotions suddenly snapped apart. See, both brothers had severe mental health issues, but the younger brother had managed to keep himself stable because of those prayer beads. The second they broke, his rage completely spiraled out of control, and in that moment, he accidentally killed his own older brother. After that day, only the younger brother and his sister-in-law had each other to lean on. Fast forward 3 years later, the guy had risen to power through ruthless tactics and became the feared Mafia prince. The whole world was terrified of him, but despite all that, he treated only one person with pure love and respect, his sister-in-law. If somebody hurt her cat, he made sure they got brutally punished. If she skipped meals, he'd yell at the chef, which scared her enough to actually eat. Everybody knew there were only two things capable of calming this terrifying man: his sister-in-law and a special necklace. It was also his mother's final wish, but one day the sister-in-law forced him to get engaged to his old girlfriend. The guy didn't want to lose her, but in the end, he still agreed. Before leaving, he handed his most precious necklace to her for safekeeping. But the second he left, his girlfriend arrived at the mansion with her family. When they saw a blind woman in simple clothes wiping the table, they immediately assumed she was just a maid. Then they noticed her touching the guy's old belongings. Without hesitation, the girlfriend slapped her hard across the face. The sister-in-law tried explaining who she really was, but nobody believed her, because honestly, nobody could even imagine that the Mafia prince's sister-in-law would look that simple. After that, the girlfriend's family got even more violent. They beat the sister-in-law so badly, blood started running down her head, and somehow they even crushed all 10 of her fingers. Then they found the necklace. The girlfriend assumed it was fake, so out of anger, she snapped it in half. At that exact same moment, the man happened to notice something strange in the CCTV footage. He immediately rushed back to the mansion, but to hide the truth, the girlfriend had already stuffed the sister-in-law into a sack, then lied straight to his face. "I caught a maid harassing your sister-in-law." Already blinded by rage, the man didn't even stop to think. Without knowing the truth, he coldly ordered, "Throw the sack into the lake," and it got even worse. He personally shot arrows into the sack himself. But after everything was over, the girlfriend casually smiled and said, "Looks like that blind woman finally died." The second he heard those words, the man completely froze. He immediately started demanding the truth like a madman, and then he saw the broken prayer beads lying on the floor. That's when reality hit him. The person he loved more than anyone else had been killed by his own hands. The guy completely shattered inside, and in pure rage, he grabbed his girlfriend by the hair and slammed her head straight into the wall.